I get into the reading room. But so thank you for joining the Grit Community September workshop. We have Debbie Novak as our Grit Community speaker, and she's going to be talking on the topic of growth. And I'm excited to have her. If you do not want to be on camera, just make sure to turn your cameras off, and then we'll make sure this is accessible on our Grit YouTube station. So Debbie, you can take it from here, and I'll just keep adding people as they end.
Okay, sounds good. Well, thank you, Jen, for having me today. I appreciate you asking me to speak. Um, and I was an author in the growth book, part of the Grit series. And so I thought the topic of growth would be obviously pretty appropriate for today. And and so I can just tell you about the growth that I've had within the industry in which I work, and that is the asphalt industry, and it is predominantly male. So growth within this industry has not been the easiest of things, and it has been a challenge along the way. Um, so I'll just start with the company I work for. My name again, Debbie Novak, and I work for Missouri Petroleum Products, and it is a subsidiary of Lionmark Construction Companies. And Lionmark Construction Companies was founded in 1932 and has 8 companies underneath it. And we basically do everything from start to finish when it comes to asphalt and heavy highway construction. So we have like um, uh, 4 asphalt plants, 7 quarries, a bridge division, paving division, milling division, and then a state center certified testing lab. And then the company that I work for, Missouri Petroleum, we have an emulsion plant, and we make products that maintain the roads. So literally everything from start to finish that is asphalt related, that's what we do. Well, I started actually this last week was my 29-year anniversary with the company. And so yeah, I started when I was like 5. Yeah, and which was nice. But no, actually I started when I was 19 years old, and I did not go to college. I moved to St. Louis when I was 18, and was hired on as a temp at this company because I never, I guess, saw myself working in asphalt as a child. It's not like my Barbies didn't get in her, pink Corvette and drive to an asphalt plant. Um, so so no, this was not an industry I saw myself getting into. But I was hired on as a temp as receptionist 29 years ago. And 2 weeks in, I was really hoping that they would ask me to be a permanent employee, because it was a good company. It was a really good company. And I saw that people had been there for years and they don't leave. And I just knew I wanted to be a part of that. I didn't know much about the industry at all at that point. But about 2 years after they hired me, I was getting bored. I wanted more to do. I always want something more to do. I don't like being sedentary, and I don't like just doing the same thing over and over again. Redundancy is not my jam. So um, I asked, can I do something more? And positions didn't come open very often because nobody left. And finally, a position came open in accounts payable, and I really begged to be given a chance. And this is one thing that has really been helpful all along the way. I've always had someone advocate for me, and I had someone advocate for me um, to give me a shot at that position. And I got it, and I did really well with it. And about 5 or 6 years into that, um, another position came open, again, rare. That was for inventory management. And I didn't know a thing about inventory management, but I also knew that, again, positions did not come open very often in this company. And so one thing I've learned along the way is never say no. And I mean, for me, in my position where I am, I've never said no to a new opportunity. And so I just said yes and said, okay, you can do this. I can do this. I'll just learn along the way. And I did. And one thing that I'm proud of is every position I've taken within this company, I feel like I've left it in a better state than it was when I received it. And so, I really made that position my own. I improved on it, and I was really good at it. But then, so I was managing the asphalt inventory for 6 asphalt plants and 1 emulsion plant, and there was a lot of work involved in that. But that's what really sparked my love of this industry, because I started to learn more about what we were doing. Before, things were coming across my desk, and I'm, you know, in payables, you're paying invoices for products. You don't know what it is. You don't understand what's going on. And so when I took on inventory management, I started to understand what we did as a whole. And that's when I got excited about my job. And I really, I wanted to learn more. I wanted, again, to do more. And so, um, so that's what I did. I tried to learn every aspect of the industry. And, um, as the more I learned, I realized this, it's asphalt. People think, "Ugh, asphalt, you drive on it. It's not that exciting, right?" But there's so much science that goes into it. And there's always something new being brought into it. They're always trying to recycle products and put it back to the mix. And asphalt is literally the most recycled product on the planet, and it is 100% recyclable. So the stuff that they mill up on the roads, they put right back into the mix, and and reuse it again. So so now they're trying to do that with different things. They started with asphalt shingles, putting that into mix. When I was at the lab the last time, they were taking those those big windmills that you see in the farms, in the farming communities. Well, when one breaks down, apparently they buried them, and now there's nowhere to bury them. So now they're not trying to figure out what to do with them. So now they're trying to grind them up and put those into asphalt. I don't think it's working great so far, but at least they're trying. They're always innovative. They're always trying new things. And so learning about that has been um, really cool to be a part of. So now, since we sold our plants, then I got moved to another position, again, another position I was scared of, and moved back into I was working for Limemark, and now I moved into Missouri Petroleum. And so I've been working with the sales department. I now do our asphalt purchasing and still manage our inventory. And they've been giving me some marketing and social media stuff to do as well. And I still have so many other things I've never lost. I just keep things and keep going with it. It's just kind of the way it is, and it's just always the way it has been. But so that's been interesting, and loving to get to know people in the industry. I'm not. I know to most people I seem like an extrovert, but I consider myself an introverted extrovert, because I don't. If I go into a room of people I don't know, I am very uncomfortable, and it's really hard for me to start that one conversation with one person. So getting out and getting to know more people has been really great for me, because I'm so much more comfortable at conferences now and getting to know everyone in the industry, and those connections, when it comes down to certain things with it that you do, those connections are invaluable. And so I've made a lot of connections, and the networking has been great for me. And one of those connections led to one of my proudest points in my career. And in 2019, there was an organization formed called Women of Asphalt. And it's a national organization that supports and advocates women in the industry. As we know, it is a male dominated industry. So it was really nice to see an organization that wanted to represent women within our industry. And they formed a board in 2019 with 11 other women, and I was asked to be on that original board and still serve on that board. So being a part of that has been a huge catalyst in my growth within this industry as well, because it not only did I have exposure in the Missouri area, but now I've gotten exposure and made contacts all over the country. And when we started Women of Asphalt, it was literally from the ground up. And we had goals. We had, a plan in place of what we wanted to accomplish. And it was basically to, advocate for, support women in the industry, bring women into the industry. And one of the goals was to start a mentorship program, which we've done. And now I'm in charge of the mentorship program, and that's been amazingly successful. And when we started, we had no branches. We didn't have any state branches, but now we have, Missouri was the first state branch. I was proud to get that going off, the ground. But now we have 26 state branches and all of Canada. So it has grown substantially since 2019, and women have really felt a connection to it. It's been a really great opportunity and thing to be a part of. So, yeah, I think, like I said, going back to my own little mantra, just never say no, like believe in yourself. And everything that I've been given, I've been scared out of my mind to take and to say yes to, but it's all worked out, and every single time it's worked out, and it's benefited me in doing so. New opportunities are scary, new things are scary, but you how do you grow without that, and so even being on the board for Women of Asphalt, I felt intimidated by that as well. Like I told you, I started this company at 19. I didn't have a college education, still don't have a college education. And all of these women on the board have such high academic achievements. And I have a high school diploma. So I felt inadequate in that aspect. But they they basically sat me down and said, there is no room for insecure women on this board. You were asked to be on here for a reason, so own it and be proud of it. And I was like, okay, I'll try to do that. It was just, that was really hard for me to do, but I really had to see my own worth. And that's not always an easy thing to do. Um, to see your value the way others see it. So those are big lessons that I've learned over time. And I still want to continue to grow. I still want to continue to grow professionally and personally. And I know I've made a lot of, decisions in my life, not my personal life, that have benefited me and have helped me to grow personally, and also I think that it has helped me professionally as a result too. I've become a lot more confident, and I'm a happier person as a result of the changes that I have made in my life. So I know that I haven't spoken very long, but I don't I honestly just wanted to kind of share with you just what I've been through. And I feel like all of us have challenges, all of us have obstacles that we have to face, but there is always another side. And I think that once we get past that obstacle and we see what was behind us and now what's in front of us, it gives you more confidence to move forward towards the next obstacle, and overcoming that next obstacle. And that has really put me in that place where I am today. So that's kind of my story, and I don't want to talk about myself too much. I just wanted to kind of share my story and my story of growth. Um, and so that's pretty much all I have, Jen. I hope that's not too short.
Not at all. I think it's really inspiring. And I think now is the time to open it up for questions. I think I love the fact that you emphasize the network and how others have advocated for you. So if you want to go into more detail about like, how can one find somebody that advocates for them? Like, what were the traits and what would that relationship look like to find a fellow advocate? Because I feel like, as women, when you have others that are advocating for you in rooms that you're not in, that's essentially how relationships are formed. So if you could give any guidance on how you can find an advocate, how do you build that relationship? What does that look like?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up too, because um it is true. Every step of the way, I have had someone advocating for me. And the reason they were advocating for me is because of those relationships that I built with them. They saw me on a personal level, they saw me on a professional level, they saw what I was capable of, they saw my work ethic, and um and and even though I'm part of an organization that, supports women in this industry, I've had a lot, and 98% of the people that have advocated for me have been men. And so there's nothing to discount the men in this industry. They're great. They're wonderful. They're supportive. This industry has been very progressive and forward thinking. It wasn't so much when I first started. There was a lot of old school kind of mentality, but now you know it's a lot different, and there's so many more women in this industry. When I went to conferences, when I first started going to conferences, there's like 300 people, and I was one of three women at the conference. And now I see multiple women and multiple women joining our branches and and getting involved in Women of Asphalt. But yeah, I think that those advocates came from the networking and getting to know people and them getting to know me. Um, and so I've had people even outside of my company advocate for me and help with my growth within this industry. So absolutely, networking is key. It's not always easy to do, but I think once you get to know a couple people, and they introduce you to a couple more people, and you have those sit down personal conversations with people, I think uh, you just never know where where that might lead, where one connection might lead you. And this one connection might lead you, 5 degrees away from someplace that you never saw you'd be, and never thought you'd have that opportunity to have. And so yeah, networking I think is absolutely vital in order to make those connections and get those advocates to help you, drive you further.
I know that was one of the reasons why within Grit, I had built the Grit community just because it was founded during a time when COVID, there was no really support system or network at all. And I know you keep focusing on the construction industry. Have you seen any benefit to having relationships outside of your industry? Because that's essentially why that's what I've done with Grit is make it really dynamic in regards to industry. So what does that look like and how's that brought you value?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, being a part of the grit community has been great too. I mean, I've met, it's funny because I've met so many people through grit that I didn't realize we were all connected. And we might not work in the same industry, but there's so many mutual connections. And so yeah, growing that network has been really great too, because now I run into people who I didn't even know before at events, and I'm like, oh, you're part of this too? I had no idea. And so yeah, I've met a lot of the grit ladies at at conferences now and conventions and outings, golf outings, stuff like that. So um yeah, and we don't realize how many more people we have in common, and that's just one more um uh you know entry into a doorway that you didn't think that you could get in. It's just, um, again, helping grow your network. It doesn't matter if it's within your own industry. It's a big, small world, and so, um, the more you can grow that, obviously, the more opportunities you have to pursue things elsewhere. I mean, I don't see me ever leaving this industry, but if I were to, I know that I would be able to have that opportunity to do so based on the connections that I have made through grit.
Well, and I know you're downplaying the fact that you helped found a national organization from the ground up. And I know you also said how you never say no and you always take it on your plate. And even with your current role, you're leading like three different jobs right now.
Yeah.
So, what is your guidance in regards to how do you get that mindset of never saying no, but then also giving yourself the balance and knowing how much you can actually take on? Because starting a national organization, and I've spoken at your organization, it supports so many women in so many different places. And a lot of times they're the one women in the industry, like what you're saying at their organization. So,
Yeah.
you know, how do you keep that balance of not ever saying no, but then being able to do those really incredible things like start a national organization?
Well, I sometimes I go crazy because I don't say no to things, and then I'm like, "Oh, how am I going to do that now?" But to be clear, I did not start this organization. I mean, I love to take credit for it, but I am proud of the fact that I have been a part of it from the ground up. I know that, being a part of it from the ground up, I have played a role in its success and getting it to where it is. And But yeah, it does take a balance, because being a part of Women of Asphalt, and my company's very supportive of it. Um, but there's a lot of times I a lot of the work I do on my free time. You know, I mean, it's a volunteer role, and I've spent a lot of weekends, working on stuff for Women of Asphalt. And especially because of the mentorship program, it is a lot of work. Um, uh, we Last year we had 160 applicants, and we matched people up, and we don't do it in some sort of, random algorithm and just spit people together. But we really take the time to go through every single application and see what they want to get out of this program, or as a mentor what they want to give to this program. And so it takes a lot of time, and we have a good committee of people who help with it. But it's so rewarding in the end. Yeah, I'm giving a lot of my personal time, but it is very rewarding in the end. And I have made personal sacrifices. I said to my son is 17 now, and I asked him just a few weeks ago, I said, and maybe it sounds bad, but I said, how many vacations can you remember us going on where I didn't work? And he goes, none. And yeah, and maybe I need to get away from that. And actually, the last vacation I took, I actually did just completely check out from work, and that was the first time in many years that I'd done that. But I feel like I finally could get to that point because I was growing my career, and I felt like I had to do everything I could in order to get further. And I know now, looking back, if I hadn't made choices that I made in doing that, because I was doing that off the clock, I was still hourly at the time and working on vacations. But it showed my drive, and it showed my work ethic, and it got me to where I am. And so for the first time, like I said, in 20 some years, I actually took a vacation just this year and completely detoxed. But then when I got back, I had I think like 356 legit emails that I had to go through after clearing out the junk. So then you're like, maybe it wasn't worth it, but I don't know. I know I kind of digressed from your original question. I apologize, but um, but yeah.
Does anybody else have any questions they'd like to ask Debbie or any feedback?
Yeah, I have a question for you, Debbie, that it's amazing. So how do you grow your marketing footprint in an asphalt purchasing industry where mainly male dominated? How do you um like grow your network if you can? How does that influence and the male dominated purchasing decisions? I'm just really curious about that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I go to conferences and get to know the people who are selling the asphalt. When I say asphalt, it's the liquid asphalt that goes into the mix. It's the most expensive component of the mix design. It's rock, oil, sand. Basically, what I'm buying is the oil that goes into it. So I'm buying from companies like Phillips 66 and um, Marathon, Exxon, those companies, the bigger companies. So I go to conferences, I get to know um, the people, the individuals who are selling those products, and those relationships go a long way. Because there have been many times where where asphalt is very difficult to get sometimes, like we are um, when Phillips brings in asphalt, they bring it in on a barge. So if the river levels are too high or too low, they can't offload those barges. And so then asphalt becomes very difficult to get. And so the connections that I've made by networking at the events that I've been at, I've been able to reach out to those contacts and find other means to get us the asphalt so that we can make the products that we have to make in order to fulfill our job commitments. Is that what you were asking basically?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Yeah. So yeah, and honestly, it's funny because uh the longer I've been in this industry and being a part of the asphalt purchasing, I have at least three women contacts who are selling, asphalt and who I talk to on a regular basis. So yeah, that's growing too. So it's really changing and it's progressing and it's really cool to be a part of. Thank you for asking.
Hi, Debbie. I really enjoyed your story. Really enjoyed listening to you speak. And one thing that you said that really resonated with me was to believe in yourself. I made a decision about 2 years ago to kind of break free from um, uh, the corporate route and own my own practice and be completely independent. And one thing that a mentor told me one time was bet on yourself every time, bet on yourself. And as scary as it was, having to pick out my own copier and what marketing agency we were going to use and all of that, it really is empowering and great advice. So I really enjoyed your speech. Thanks so much.
Thank you. No, what you did is powerful in itself. That has got to be really scary. And how long have you said 2 years ago?
2 years ago. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I,
Yeah.
I own my own business. So, just a lot of getting efficiencies down and making sure that you're still providing excellent, stellar customer service. That's always front and foremost. But yeah, it's actually really empowering, and I couldn't go back the other way now.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you, do you regret it at all?
No, no, not at
No.
all.
Good for
No.
you. Good for
Yeah, I
you.
mean, I would say the first 6 months, like anything else, you do think, and I'm in a very male dominated industry as well. I'm in the financial service industry, and I
Mhm.
also serve as a fiduciary. And so, at first you think, oh my gosh, what did I do? Maybe I should, you know, go back to the other way. But once you get your feet on the ground and, like you said, believe in yourself, it's well worth it. I can never go back.
Yeah. And sometimes even if you don't have that confidence, you know, the old saying, fake it till you make it.
Yes,
You know?
yes.
And that's kind of what I did with the first few positions I took on. I'm like, yeah, I totally can do that. Yeah, I've got this. And I'm like, I don't got this. I don't think I can do this. But you end up doing it. You know, you just find a way because you know what you're capable of, and you know, um, yeah, the confidence in yourself does grow the more and more you say yes to things and believe in yourself.
Yeah,
So
that's
good
the
for
trick.
you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone
Well,
else?
thank you,
Hi.
everyone.
Oh,
Oh, Ernola, yay.
hi, Debbie. Good morning.
Hi,
I'm
Arnola.
sorry, guys. Multitasking because I own a party rental. I'm ripping and running right now. So I'll show my face next time, I promise. But Debbie, thank you. You spoke and I listened. And I guess you kind of answered my question from the last answer you gave, because I was going to commend your confidence and your openness and transparency, because it's not very common. You know, sometimes I found myself not being as open because the fear of being judged.
Mm.
I'm an immigrant. I have an accent. I'm like, oh my God, they're going to judge me. And G.R.I.T has helped me a lot to find my voice as a woman in business. They're providing workshops that's helping me to develop my skill set. But I wanted to ask you, what in your journey gave you that confidence to be open so that others can help you?
You know, I feel like I'm kind of an open book just in my life in general. And I think people see that I'm genuine. I think that goes a long way. I'm not I can be confident without being arrogant. And I think humility uh, is necessary in order to progress. Because if you don't know how to do something, like I said, that fake it till you make it, that doesn't work when you actually have to get something done. And so if you have questions, you've got to ask, and you have to be humble enough to admit, hey, I don't know how to do this and I need help with this. So and so that's what I've done along the way. If I've come into something that I know I can't do, or I don't think I can do, or I'm not familiar with it, I ask those people. And those people, like I said, who have advocated for me have also been mentors to me and helped me along the way and helped me progress, helped me learn enough to get to where I am today. So I that transparency comes from just, I think, my personality. I think I'm I'm open, I'm honest, and I'm not afraid to be self-deprecating or or just, you know, admit my mistakes. I mean, I don't, if I make a mistake, I own it. I don't ever try to deflect and put it on someone else. I own it, but I also learn from that mistake, and I don't ever want to make that mistake again. So um I think that's pretty much where that comes from. I think it's more of my personality, but I think anyone can do that. I don't think that's it. Maybe it's difficult to take on and to start doing that, but um I think it resonates with people when you are honest and open. So, and they trust you more, and they if they trust you, then they want you on their side. They want you to be a part of their organization and to grow with them. So
That's awesome. Thank you.
you're welcome. Thank you.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us today. Thank you, Debbie, for sharing your thought leadership. And if you haven't already gotten a copy of Growth, she is in the Growth edition of the Deconstructing Grit collection. And her company has been a proud supporter of Grit. They were a sponsor of the Growth anthology, and they're actually a corporate sponsor of the Grit community itself as well. So they're an amazing organization. So if you know of anybody looking for a job, and I know the jobs aren't common there, but definitely reach out to Debbie, connect with her. I did put her LinkedIn profile in the invite that I sent out this morning, but Thank you so much, Debbie. That was amazing. And that's just gives you more ambition to like just realize that you have to work for whatever it is that you want to grow, and never think that you know everything. Always be humble and kind. And never
No,
say
no,
no.
I don't know everything at
So
all.
yeah, I love your message, and just watching your career unfold and the drive that you have it's really admirable and awesome. So
Thank you. And I would love to connect with all of you. So if you send me an invite, I would happily accept. So thank you all for being a part of this and for listening to my story. Nice meeting all of you.
bye guys.
Bye. Thank you. Thanks, Jen.